Hi there. This is the third of a four-part series with my colleague Alex Harper, where we're talking about team sport dynamics, specifically motorsport, and how we can help riders and the team members as well navigate different situations. So in this case, we're going to think about self-esteem, essentially self-esteem in terms of the rider. And yeah, Alex is going to lead the way and talk a little bit about self-esteem, low self-esteem, good, healthy self-esteem. So over to you.
Thanks, David. Yes, I think this feeds off nicely from the previous video. Because of course we were looking at passive communication, and I think it's fair to say that self-esteem is very much related to that. So if we have a low self-esteem, for example, we're probably more likely to communicate in that passive way. So someone might be able to work out if they have low self-esteem, if maybe they're really critical of themselves. They might get some clues from their self-talk in that way. So they might be downplaying their positive qualities, thinking their opinion doesn't matter compared to others. They might be judging themselves. So I think that negative self-talk is really a key part, as well as your communication style with others. And on the flip side, what we'd always be helping or trying to help people to reach is that more confident perspective. So thinking positively about themselves, feeling like their opinion really matters so they can communicate more openly. And then that gives them that can-do attitude, really take life on, take challenges on and have that positive self-talk going on. Yeah, and also express their needs to people and teams and hopefully grow more confidently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely. And it's quite interesting how the team dynamics, the team environment can influence this, where you may have teams where there's a lot of finger pointing, the blame game. There's shaming there. Um, there's not a lot of sharing vulnerabilities because egos get in the way. And how do you think that then influences the way the athlete or the rider can feel?
Yeah, so I think the interesting point is that all of those communication styles can come down to being about the vulnerability. So somebody might be expressing themselves more aggressively because they feel vulnerable in a situation, but then naturally a more passive person's going to take that on themselves. So they'll think, right, I have to deal with this problem. So really nobody's maybe taking on the right level of responsibility for the part they're playing. So I think it stops the team really coming together and tackling situations with that kind of even judgment of one another and being able to look at the facts of the situation, maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting in high performance sport how like the outcome is often the big key thing that people are focusing and driving
Mm.
towards. But then often they can just get lost along the way. They forget really that there is a collective in this. And as I say, like egos can take over.
Mm.
Um, it certainly warrants a strengths-based approach in some respects, and people respecting the strengths that everyone has,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
the fact that people have different values as well. Yeah, would you agree?
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that leads nicely into the concept that we'll so often touch on in sports psychology, which is around ego versus task goals. So sometimes, like you say, we might be focused on the big end result, but sometimes that stops us appreciating the growth we make on a personal level, irrelevant of anyone else's performance. So yeah, I think if a team can come together and really focus on their growth as a team, ultimately that leads them to having more chance of having those big wins. But yeah, it's a really healthy journey then.
Yeah, and essentially, I suppose, is reminding yourself if you're part of a team with an athlete, with a rider in this case, that there may be a goal that someone wants to reach there, but we are actually part of a collective, part of a team, and we're
Mm.
all trying to strive towards the same thing. So and with that is considering how you communicate in terms of your tone of voice, your like your body
Mm.
language and little things like that. Because as you alluded to, like if you've got low self-esteem, you're not feeling great in yourself, you will pick up on some of those smaller cues, and then you start to internalize it yourself. And we've all got a negativity bias in our brains, and that doesn't half kick in,
Mm.
to say the least.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. We'll call it a day for our third video, and yeah, keep an eye out, folks, for video number 4, where we'll be talking a little bit about passive aggressive behavior.